President Donald Trump says that the U.S. is making progress in talks with Iran, but is also threatening additional military action if a deal is not reached.
National correspondent Kayla Gaskins has the latest from Washington.
President Trump says negotiations with Iran are moving along very nicely as his administration pushes for a deal to end the current conflict.
Getting a lot of the things that they should have given us a long time ago. We'll see how it works out, but they're very good.
In a Monday Morning Post, Trump saying the U.S. is working with what he calls a new and more reasonable regime in Iran, adding if talks fall apart, the U.S. is prepared to target and, quote, obliterate Iran's energy and water infrastructure. Secretary of State Marco Rubio also signaling there may be openings behind the scenes in a Monday morning interview.
You have people that are saying some of the right things privately. Obviously, they're not going to put it out in press releases and what they say to you or put out there for the world. But at the end of the day, we have to see if these people end up being the ones in charge, seeing if they're the ones that have the power to deliver.
A spokesperson for Iran's foreign ministry denied any direct negotiations were underway with the United States, calling the U.S. demands to end the conflict excessive, unrealistic, and illogical. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says what Iran is saying publicly is much different from what they're communicating privately.
Despite all of the public posturing you hear from the regime and false reporting, talks are continuing and going well.
Meanwhile, U.S. officials say the Pentagon is preparing for potentially weeks of ground operations, including a mix of special operations forces and conventional troops.
The greatest military in the history of the world continues to stand by to provide President Trump with every option available to ensure this regime continues to pay a grave price.
On Saturday, Central Command announced an additional 3,500 sailors and Marines had arrived in the Middle East, bringing the total U.S. force posture in the region to more than 50,000 troops, about 10,000 above typical levels. Iran's parliament speaker warning the U.S. against a ground invasion threatening to set American troops on fire. Pakistan says it plans to host talks between the U.S. and Iran aimed at de-escalating the conflict, but officials there say no date has been set for when those negotiations could take place. In Washington, I'm Kayla Gaskins.